You shouldn't do things differently just because they're different. They need to be better. When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is a disaster. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. Really pay attention to negative feedback and solicit it, particularly from friends. Hardly anyone does that, and it's incredibly helpful. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop, where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. If you're co-founder or CEO, you have to do all kinds of tasks you might not want to do. If you don't do your chores, the company won't succeed. No task is too menial. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. But brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. A company is a group organized to create a product or service, and it is only as good as its people and how excited they are about creating. I do want to recognize a ton of super talented people. I just happen to be the face of the companies. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. It is important that people look forward to coming to work in the morning and enjoy working. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. When somebody has a breakthrough innovation, it is rarely one little thing. Very rarely is it one little thing. It's usually a whole bunch of things that collectively amount to a huge innovation. There are really two things that have to occur in order for new technology to be affordable to the mass market. One is you need economies of scale. The other is you need to iterate on the design. You need to go through a few versions. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. But a brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. I'm interested in things that change the world or that affect the future, and wondrous, new technology where you see it, and you're like, wow, how did that even happen? How is that possible? If something has to be designed and invented, and you have to figure out how to ensure that the value of the thing you create is greater than the cost of the inputs, then that is probably my core skill. Talent is extremely important. It's like a sports team, the team that has the best individual player will often win, but then there's a multiplier from how those players work together and the strategy they employ. I think most of the important stuff on the internet has been built. There will be continued innovation, for sure, but the great problems of the internet have essentially been solved. I wouldn't say I have a lack of fear. In fact, I'd like my fear emotion to be less because it's very distracting and fries my nervous system.